In today's video, we'll cover the angle money. So, how do you issue stablecoins out of something like the US dollars or any kind of asset? If you look at the figures, you will see that stablecoins have played an integral role in the growth so far. You can see the TVA and how much stablecoins have played a role. If you look at the number of users for DeFi so far, it has been increasing since 2018, and people from different regions have been involved in different stuff like internet savings, DAO, insurance, and the rest of it. But there are a number of problems. One of them is the centralization of stablecoins that are being used. We have the regulatory risk. We have that of the fear of freezing. Then we have that of transparency. So we have the likes of Theta, USDT. We can't see the accounts, right? And that is a very big problem. And your accounts could be freezing anytime. And then we have decentralized options. But some of the problems, we have capital inefficiencies. They are not bank run resistant. And then they rely on under-collateralized protocols where you could be liquidated out of your position anytime, just like we have the Black Swan events. Examples are DAI, USDT, and the rest of it. Then another problem with stablecoins is the dollarization of DeFi. What that means is that it's not easy for people to wrap their head around how much is currency is worth in dollars and the rest of them. And then there is the currency devaluation or valuation problem. So what is the risk? You see what is going on in Canada, where the Prime Minister and the Deputy Prime Minister have obtained powers, which they call the Emergency Act, to freeze any bank account that is linked with what they call illegal buckets. And then you see the likes of the CEO of Kraken saying, "Get your coins out. We cannot actually protect you," in a day where they bring this executive order. So in this project, we'll talk about who are some of the investors that have invested in this project. We have the likes of A16Z, Fabric Ventures, and others. So what is the goal? To create a euro-based stablecoin that is already in production and showing the market capitalization. To create dollar-based stablecoins, as well as stablecoins for other currencies. Have the likes of the Swiss franc, the euro, the Japanese yen, and then the Korean one. And then the other thing again, create stablecoins that are pegged to indices, or a basket of currencies. So you might be asking, how does it all work? So it basically works. You meet, you can bond as a user. So when you meet, you're creating, when you're dropping the collateral to you, and then when you want to redeem, you bond the perpetual features, and then you have staking the full split in this line. So there are three stakeholders in the system who have the users. So they are the ones who meet, they use, or they bond the stable asset. An example is that, for example, if you give the protocol 2,000 USD, which is worth 1,800 euros, you get 1,800 tokens. Now, at a later point, you can go back to the protocol with those 1,800 tokens and get your 1,800 tokens worth back of euros as collateral. Now, it does not matter whether the price has increased or not. So, meaning if the price of 1 euro is now 1.2 USD, you can get 2,106 and you're in profit. So, it's not like, oh, what you got on the protocol is 2,000. No, you will still be in profit. So, how are we going to mitigate against price differences and all that? That's what they call the hedging agent. So as an hedging agent, what do? You take the volatility on yourself that these seekers they bring, and for doing that, you insure the protocol against price drop. And what do you get as a person? You get direct leverage contracts by taking forms of perpetual contracts. So it's like you're basically doing leverage trading while basically providing some form of insurance of the protocol. Let me move myself. Okay, so and then another, if the risk is not enough, move to the standard liquidity providers. So rather than just take your. So what do they do? They deposit the collateral in the protocol and they automatically earn rewards. They serve as a buffer between the stablecoin holders and the hedgers. And then you can get higher rewards. So let's say, for example, for this 2,000 USD to secure it, when somebody deposited that, if you deposit into this liquidity pool, you get 3 times reward. So that is even more than what you would have gotten on Compound, RVA, and the rest of it. So you might be asking, what is token utility? Before we talk about token utility, we'll talk about the allocation. You can see the chart, the early baggers, strategic partners, core team, liquidity mining, and all that. What will be the utility of the token? Governance, incentives. And then before we end, we'll talk about V tokens. So in order to prevent vampire or parasitic yield farming, as you see, people come, deposit a lot of capital, they farm all the rewards, and then they go to another protocol. That they brought what they call the voted escrow tokens, so which is VE and tokens. This one you are basically aligning yield farmers' long-term interest with the long-term interest of the product. So the yield farmers are not at the user side. You are not on the user side also. So to do that, you get boosted rewards and interest on the protocol. You can also vote. And one thing to note is that it's not transferable. So if you say you're locking your tokens for X amount of time, you cannot sell it off. You will get the tokens after that. So this is the first stablecoin they've issued. It's been functioning since, let's say, December. Let's zoom out. Okay, since November, you can see the growth of $145 million. Then the token itself, this is the market capitalization, $23 million. So if you compare, it's like almost maybe 7x or something like that. So this is the website if you want to learn more about this awesome project. You can go to the app with your MetaMask, and if you have some funds in your wallet, you can simply connect. Let's take some time. So it's pretty easy to, you can select your collateral, whatever collateral you want to use. You can use DAI, you can use USDT, FAIR, and the rest of them. You basically get AJ Euro, at least if you are a user. So if you are the hedgers, you can open a position. You select the collateral you want to use to open your position. You select how much leverage you want to take, or you are willing to bear, and then you are good to go. And you can also come in as a standard liquidity provider, SLP, and deposits, and also earn rewards. You can see the API is more than most places. So that is all for now. Thank you very much for watching.